So you're going to need a sport weight or lightweight yarn. This is a baby bee yarn from Hobby Lobby, so it's a 3-ply. It's quite soft and a thin thread. So you'll need your double pointed needles size 4, or to obtain your gauge is listed down below. You'll also need stitch markers and a sewing needle for finishing up. This pattern I found online years ago. It's titled Campfire Socks. If I can find the link for it, I'll put it down below. If not, I'm sure you can Google it and find it somewhere. So this pattern has 3 sizes, women's, men's, and then a larger size. So I will be demonstrating the woman's size, and the finished measurement all depends on the length of your foot. So it varies, even though they're all similar. So what you want to do is take your yarn and your needles, and you're going to want to evenly cast on 44 stitches. So once you have your stitches evenly on your needles, then you're going to want to, of course, make sure that they're all straight, no twists within your stitches. And now we're going to begin to connect them in the round. So you want to hold it as close as possible to avoid a large gap. And we're going to start off our first 8 rounds with a knit 1, purl 1 rib. So we're starting at the top of the sock and working our way to the toe. So for our ribbing, we're just going to start with a knit 1, purl 1. And first row is always trickier, pretty much on any needle, but definitely on double pointed, just to get the hang of it. You want to keep your stitches just a little tight in the first so you don't have a gap. And if you do, we can always fix it. So right now I just have my removable stitch marker just clipped to the bottom here of my stitch, just so it doesn't fall off. But you can easily just put a marker on your needle so we know when to start our new row. Make sure you have a notepad nearby so you can keep track of your rows so that your second sock will match. And we're just going to continue in our knit 1, purl 1 rib for our 8 rows. And then we'll come back and continue on with our sock. So once you've worked your 8 rows, you have your little rib like this. So now we're going to be working the leg of the sock, and we want about 7 inches, or however long you want your sock to be. So this is going to be a 2-row repeat. So the first row is going to be a repeat of knit 3, purl 1, and you're going to repeat that all the way around to the end. Knit 3, purl 1. Row 2 is going to be a repeat of purl 1, knit 1, purl 2. Repeat to the end. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, and repeat. So like I said before, we're going to be knitting the leg of the sock to about 7 inches. Make sure that you end on row 2, and just keep repeating rows 1 and 2 until we reach our length. So once you have your 7 inches, now you can measure it either way. You can go from the cast on down. You can start measuring from the cast on edge because that makes it simpler, or you can measure it after your ribbing, right where our pattern starts, if you want your sock to be longer. So once you have your length, now we're going to start on the next step, and this is where we're going to start turning our heel flap. So what you want to do is we're going to start off by knitting the first 11 stitches. Now at this point we can take off our stitch marker because we will not be going in the round anymore. We'll be working back and forth. So you're going to start off like I said, by knitting 11, and we're doing just plain knit, no pattern involved. So we're midway through, but we're going to turn our work. So here we're going to start with purl 22. So we will be switching to the next needle. So now you can decide whether or not you want to work off then 2 needles or just continue on this one. I'm just going to continue, like I said, until we do our 22 purl stitches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move our remaining stitches onto our unworked stitches. The 22 stitches are the only ones we want to work with. So you want to move any stitches that are not the 22 purl stitches onto the separate needle because we will not be working them. So now we have our 22 purl stitches, and we are just going to be working back and forth on these stitches only. And we have our other 22 stitches on a separate needle that we will not be using. Okay, so what we're going to do is start with row 1, and it is going to consist of a knit 2, now we're going to begin a repeat of slip 1, knit 1. Repeat that all the way to the end. Slip 1, knit 1. Slip 1, knit 1. Alrighty, so now we've turned our work, and now going back for row 2, we're going to start with slip 1, slip it purlwise, and we're just going to purl to the end of the row. So we've worked our way across. Now we're going to begin row 3 with a repeat of slip 1 and then knit 1 all the way to the end. Slip 1, knit 1. Like so. And now what we're going to do is repeat these last 2 rounds of rows 2 and 3 8 more times, which would be a total of 19 rows. So we're just going to keep swapping back and forth until we get our finishing rows. So once you've finished your repeats, this is what you have. So this is the back of our heel like this. We have the top of our sock and then the heel. So now what we're going to do for our next row is we should be on the inside of it like so. We're going to do a slip 1 and then purl all the way across. Like that. And we can see that the slip 1 pattern gave us this nice, almost like a ridge effect on the back of our heel, which makes it nice and sturdy for the sock. So now we're going to start by turning the heel so we can get more of our sock shape. So we're going to be working short rows to create our heel. So we're going to start off our row by knitting 15. So now what we're going to do is something abbreviated as a SKP. So a SKP is a slip 1 stitch knitwise, like so. Then we're going to knit the next stitch, like that. Then we're going to pass the slip stitch over and off the needle, like that. Then we're going to turn our work. So we still have 5 stitches on our left needle, but we're going to go ahead and turn our work. So now we're going to be coming to a repeat of 2 rows until we incorporate all our heel stitches. So we should end up with a total of 10 heel stitches. So for the first row in our repeat, we're going to start with a slip 1, purl 8. Then we're going to work a purl 2 together. So now we have 5 stitches remaining on our left needle. We're going to turn our work. So now for row 2 of our repeat, we're going to start with a slip 1, knit 8, then we're going to do an SKP again. So we're going to slip the next stitch knitwise, knit 1, and slip that and pass that slip stitch over and off our right needle, like so. So now we have 4 stitches remaining. So now we're just going to keep repeating those last 2 rows until we've incorporated all our heel stitches and end up with only 10. So once you're down to your 10 stitches, we have turned our heel. So now we're going to be working is called a gusset. So if you've ever worked a sock before, you know how to work a gusset. If you haven't, it's where now we're going to be picking up all these side stitches, incorporating our top again, and pulling all the stitches back together. So it's going to be a sort of triangular shape coming here to try and slim it down for the length of our foot. When looking at the outside of your sock, where you have the knit showing on your heel, you should have your yarn coming out of the right. So what we're going to do is go ahead and knit a plain row across so that we have the yarn on the left side of the heel. So we're just going to be working a plain row to get us to the other side. So now we're going to start picking up our stitches for our gusset. Now this will be a little intimidating, but really it is not that difficult. And if you look at working the sock only with the 2 needles, like when you're working in the round, you're only staring at what is on the 2 needles you're working and not the couple that are remaining on your work, it makes it a lot easier to understand. So now we have our side slip stitches that we worked when we did our heel. Those will be the ones we were picking up. So we are planning on picking up 11 stitches across the heel flap. So if you want, you can go ahead and pre-measure them out to make sure that they are even, but we were aiming for 11. So what you want to do with a new needle is you're going to go through one of those slipped stitches, like so, wrap as if to knit, and pull up a loop. Now we have our first gusset stitch on our needle. And you're just going to repeat that until all 11 stitches have been picked up. So just go through that slip stitch on our heel flap, wrap as if to knit, and pull up a loop. If you want, you can also use a crochet hook if you're having trouble picking up your stitches. But we're just going to continue until all 11 are on this new needle. So now we have all 11 stitches picked up here. Going to rotate our work so that now we're holding on to our instep stitches. And we're going to go ahead and take a new needle and work across our instep stitches in this pattern. So you want to start off with a repeat of purl 1, knit 3, And we're going to repeat that 5 times across. So purl 1, knit 3, then when you're down to your final 2, then we're going to work a purl and a knit. So now we've worked across our instep stitches. Now we're going to rotate to our right, and now we're to the other side to pick up our gusset stitches. So the same as before, you want to go ahead and pick up evenly 11 stitches, taking us to the heel of our sock. So you just want to go ahead, kind of mimic where you picked up your stitches on the other side. Just pick up the slip stitches on the edging of our heel and just knit them and pull up a loop until you got all 11 stitches picked up. So then you have all 11 picked up. Now with this same needle that we picked up the 11, we're going to go ahead and knit 5 of our heel stitches. This is helping us arrange our stitches for in the round to work the remainder of the sock. So you just want to go ahead and knit 5. And now we have all our stitches. So then what you want to do is take the remaining 5 on this needle and we're going to combine it with this other side of our gusset stitches. So we're just going to pass them through, just slipping them off with the back loop, like so. This is where you want to add your stitch marker. So before that last stitch is put on, you just want to go ahead and place your stitch marker. So you have 16 side stitches coming from the center of our heel, 22 instep stitches, and then the remaining 16 on the other side. So now we have to work decreasing, because if we just worked all these stitches, we would have a really big sock. So we want to go ahead and start making our gusset decreases to make this into an actual fitting sock. We're going to be starting a repeat. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with a numbering system. So we have needle 1. Needle 1 is our side stitches. Needle 2 are our instep stitches, and needle 3 is our other side stitches. So we're going to be repeating these next 2 rounds 5 times, a total of 10 rounds. So round 1 is going to start with needle 1, and we're going to begin by knitting to the last 3 stitches on needle 1. So when you're down to your last 3 stitches on needle 1, we're going to go ahead and work our decrease of knit 2 together, knit 1. Then for needle 2 instep stitches, we're going to begin with a repeat of purl 2, knit 1, purl 1, then you're going to repeat that until your last 2 stitches. Then you're going to finish with purl 2. For needle number 3, we're going to start off with a knit 1, slip, slip, knit. So we're going to slip the next 2 stitches as if to knit, take our left needle and insert it in the front of them, and knit them two together. And then we're going to knit to the end. So then for round 2, for needle 1, we're just going to knit all the stitches. For needle 2, we're going to begin with a repeat of purl 1, knit 3, and we're just going to repeat that to the last 2 stitches remaining on needle 2. Then your final 2 stitches are going to be purl 1 and knit 1. Then for needle 3, we're just going to knit all stitches. So now we're just going to go ahead and repeat those 2 rounds 5 times around, 10 times total. So because we've already completed 1 round, we're just going to repeat that 4 more times. So make sure you keep track of how many rows you did on your paper so that we can make sure we're staying on track and keep our second sock to match as well. So we're on our way to getting our sock all finished. So now our piece should look like this. So here is our instep shaping right here. So now we're almost there. So now what we're going to be doing is doing the length of our sock. So we need to know the length of our foot. So what you're going to do is measure from heel to toe and add 1/2 inch. Once you have this, then we're going to continue on with that as our measurement in mind. So again, we have a 2-row repeat that will be working until we reach 2 inches shorter than the measurement we just calculated. So for row 1, on needle 1, we're going to knit across. For needle 2, we're going to begin a repeat of purl 2, knit 1, purl 1, and we're going to repeat that all the way across needle 2 until we have 2 stitches remaining. Then when you get to your last 2 stitches, then we're going to purl 2. Then for needle 3, we're just going to knit across. For row 2, needle 1, we're just going to knit across. Needle 2, we're going to begin a repeat of purl 1, knit 3, and we're going to repeat that to the last 2 stitches on needle 2. Then we're down to our final 2 stitches. We're going to do a purl 1 and a knit 1. Then for needle 3, we're just going to knit across. And that's all you're going to do. So you're just going to repeat those 2 rounds until you get 2 inches shorter than your measured length, and then we'll start our toe shaping. So once you have your length of your sock that is 2 inches shorter than the length of your foot that you measured, we're going to start the decreasing for our toe. So now again, this is a 2-row repeat, and we're going to continue that until we only have 24 stitches left altogether. So for round 1 on needle 1, we're going to start by knitting to the last 3 stitches on this needle. Then when you're down to your last 3, we're going to go ahead with a knit 2 together, knit 1, then for needle 2, we're going to start with a knit 1, Then we're going to work a slip, slip, knit, decrease. So we're going to go ahead and slip the next 2 stitches as if we're knitting, insert through the front, knit them 2 together. Then we're going to knit to the last 3 stitches on this needle. When you're down to the last 3 on this needle, then we're going to go ahead with a knit 2 together, knit 1, then for needle 3, we're going to start off with a knit 1, slip, slip, knit, decrease, knit to the end. Then for row 2, it's just plain knit on all needles. So we're just going to go from start to finish, knitting all the way around. And you're going to repeat that until you only have the remaining 24 stitches. So once you get down to your 24 stitches, this is what your toe will start looking like. You see the shaping on the edges here. So now we're going to go ahead and repeat row 1 with the decreases until we're down to only 8 stitches. And then at that point, you can decide how you want to close the toe. You can use just the method that we use at the top of hats. So you just weave in the final stitches and pull really tight. You can Kitchener stitch, bind off. You can sew it if you know how to just weave it back and forth and sew it like mattress stitch or something. You can also do that, but you can decide however you want your toe to be finished. So once you get to 24 stitches, repeat row 1 until you have only 8, and then you can finish your sock. And there you have your finished sock. So I think this style of sock is actually really cute. So you have your toe here, so you can see your decreases on the top and on the bottom. So this is just the drawstring method, like when you do the top of a hat. So as you can see, that looks pretty okay for the sock, and then you have it like this. So then all you have to do is repeat the same method and follow the row counts that you did for your previous one to make the second half of your pair, and then you have a nice set of cozy socks to wear. So I hope you guys enjoyed this style of sock. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.